All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media, back with another episode of the Patriots Daily Podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. Powered by you guys today. It is a members episode of the show breaking down Drake Maye's top plays from the Patriots win over the Panthers this coming Sunday. As you all know, Patriots won that one 42-13. The offense looked super sharp. They scored 35 points as a unit. Now, granted, using some of a Marcus Jones punt return to get some of those 7 points done there. But overall, an outstanding output by this offense, as we know, Taylor. One of their first 40-point games in quite some time. And Drake Maye was sensational. He goes 14 of 17 for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 11 yards and had a rushing touchdown. So that's the bare bones of it. But what we do here on Patriots Daily is break it all down from the film room. The All 22 is here. So we're going to break this up into 3 segments. We're going to break down Drake Maye's quick game, a couple plays from showcasing Drake Maye's mobility, and then we're also going to take a look at the connection he finally built with Stefon Diggs, who had his first 100-yard game as a Patriot. So, Taylor, we will start with the quick game, but before we do it, just overall, let me get your thoughts on what you saw from Drake after actually breaking down the film. Was it as good as we saw on Sunday? Was there still room for improvement? Obviously, there always is, but a really good game from him. But what did you see overall? What were some themes after breaking it all down?
Yeah, not too many revelations since last night's show, but again, impressed by the fact that he was able to exploit downfield windows. And this week, it wasn't just to Hunter Henry or the tight ends. It was actually to Stefon Diggs, and also not just to Kayshon Boutte, although I do miss him being more involved in the offense. But we'll get to him. We do have a Kayshon Boutte play. But again, nice to see him make those downfield completions, because the completion percentage is high, but it's also because a lot of his throws, while it's not screen heavy and just necessarily easy throws, he's been very good in the quick game, which we're going to start with. I really do think that the mobility, being able to extend plays, go off schedule, and also make tough throws was all on the tape. So gonna dive into that. This was a very fun one to break down. And when we talked about some of the bad yesterday, where it's like he skips a throw to Stefon Diggs, scrambled when he might have had another throw to Stefon Diggs over the middle. So Diggs could have even had a better day. Little things you can always work on in a quarterback's game, but really none of the glaring misses other than one, which we'll get to later in the show. But yeah, a really impressive performance from Drake Maye that felt indicative of his stat line. Not a ton of dropbacks, but he made the most of them.
Perfect. All right, well, let's get into it. Let's break it down right off the bat here. We will get into the quick game that they used in this one. First play is a completion to Hunter Henry. If we want to pull it up here, I will take that off and we will go full screen. Henry motions over and Maye squeezes this one in right before the goal line. Unfortunately, he goes down right about the 1-yard line. But what'd you see from this one? Break it down for us.
Okay, well, for some reason, it's not going because it can never be simple on this damn thing. So let me see how I can fix it real quick. I'll bring it back. God, it's always something.
That's okay. The good news is, the good news is I don't think we have any members here yet, but this is still going to go live later, which is fine. We'll get it up. We'll get it done.
You can edit this part out.
That's fine.
Okay, now I got it. Now
we're good.
Back up with the technology and whatnot. There we go. Okay. So
there we go.
This one goes to Hunter Henry, comes in motion. This was a 3rd and 5 completion at the Panthers' 9-yard line. Didn't quite get in, but a laser from Drake Maye allowed Hunter to get very close. Kind of funny there. Ben Brown tries to help. If he pushed Hunter, this might have been a touchdown, but he winds up kind of either missing or going for somebody else. But I like the ferociousness, maybe just a little bit more awareness next time. So starting out, we're going to run this back a little bit slower. You saw the motion from Hunter Henry going from left to right. Didn't really see a significant shift from the Panthers defense, which tells you this is probably some form of zone coverage. Now, the Patriots are running what's known as a follow concept, where you're going to have Austin Hooper right here running a shallow, and then Hunter Henry's going to follow behind on what's kind of like an arches or a slant type of route, and then you're going to get Ramondre Stevenson in the flat, which is key because it's going to help open up Henry, because to that side of the field, we don't need to worry about the top. This is pretty much a one-side kind of play. The Panthers are playing a form of match zone where to the top it is man coverage, but here you've got a zone, not really a blitz, it's more of a simulated pressure because this defender ends up dropping into coverage, but you're going to have this linebacker blitzing. the linebacker opposite him and the safety buzzing down to more shallow zones. And then you're going to get deep zones from this deep safety, as well as J.C. Horn down at the bottom. So once again, Ramondre Stevenson's flat route is going to be key here, but also Drake Maye throwing with fantastic anticipation. So running it back slowly. Drake gets the pass, sees the blitzer, right? So now he's trying to get in this gap right here, but Drake is going to throw fast, loads up before Hunter Henry right here has even gotten out of his route or is looking for the ball. Fires it in there, beats the linebacker to the spot. Hunter does his best. I love him trying to fight through multiple Panthers. Not quite able to get in there, though. Also going to see it from the end zone angle because this gives you even more appreciation for what a great throw this was. So Austin Hooper on his shallow route that kind of briefly occupies the linebacker. You see this defender, the safety, trying to buzz down to take Stevenson's route. And it almost looks like Hunter's setting a pick for a second there. Maybe that's even more of a reason this safety tries to fire down to that flat. And now Drake knows, hands off the ball, he's ready to throw. Hunter's going to be right in this void, but he's got to beat this linebacker who is, again, occupied by Austin Hooper's route. Fire that one in there, Drake. Look how close this was to the linebacker's hand. Again, if you see maybe some not great eye discipline from Drake where he starts in the middle and then looks right before firing, just a split second before, beats the linebacker to the spot. Really impressive anticipatory quick game throw from Drake Maye on that one. Now we're going to follow it up with another quick game throw where he actually showed the ability to move off schedule and not just simply look and fire like we see from some younger quarterbacks where doesn't get the look he wants to the right. Okay, slide to the left because you get some room. Fire to Kayshon Boutte. Could have been a better throw, of course. Probably would have given Boutte more room to work, but still do appreciate the fact that he was able to go off his initial read and then buy some time and capitalize on bad play from the defense. So why exactly was this a busted play initially for the Patriots? Well, we're going to get this flip first. He sees a too-high shell, soft coverage over here. I think also knowing that Hunter Henry may have some space, I'm not sure if it's a safety shell or what, but he is going to check to the play that we ended up seeing. Ramondre Stevenson flips over to the left side. This is a very popular concept for the Patriots where what we're going to get is stick routes. I believe this is supposed to be a mirrored concept where Stephon Diggs in the slot and Hunter Henry just off the ball are going to run stick routes. And then to the outside, you're going to get clear outs basically from Mack Hollins and Kayshon Boutte. Then Ramondre Stevenson's going to run another short route to kind of space out the defense. But what ends up happening on the play is rather than running a clear out to create space for Hunter Henry, Mack Hollins doesn't get the check that Drake has initially, and that's how you know this was probably supposed to be a run because Mack Hollins reduces down and tries to cut off J.C. Horn. And the Panthers, for their part, are similar to before. It's going to be man coverage to this two-receiver side with zone coverage towards a three-receiver side with Ramondre flipping. That makes it technically the formation strength, as in terms of passing formation, at least. So Drake Maye is going to get it. Looks to the right and sees something's not right here because Mack Hollins and Hunter Henry are in the exact same space. This is not going to go well. Then goes to the right side, and you do see Stephon Diggs is open here, but the corner sees it too and ends up firing down to try to take that away or make a play. But because, I'll go back really quickly, really nice cut block we're going to get from Will Campbell on the left side. That is going to get Nick Scorton on the ground. Drake Maye has a soft edge. He's going to slide to the left, see that this corner firing down creates a void in that cover two defense for Kayshon Boutte, fires that to the open receiver. Low throw, fantastic job by Kayshon Boutte to scoop that off the turf and make the completion. But again, a good example of Maye in the quick game. First, you see him make an anticipatory throw to be able to actually get it in a very tight window in the red zone and convert, which eventually led to a rushing touchdown. And then you also saw his ability to see that things weren't going right, but rather than like we see from Tua sometimes where he's just like seeing it and ripping it. He doesn't really care what the post-snap picture is. Drake understanding something went wrong, keeping his composure, and then actually extending the play to create an even bigger opportunity than he might have had initially. So good stuff from the sophomore quarterback in the quick game.
I won't have you pull up the first play once again. I know we got past it, but the one thing I did love, and you mentioned it 3 or 4 times, is the anticipation, because if he threw that a second later, that's either getting batted down or picked off. Yep. That linebacker was right in there, essentially right in that window, and he squeezed it right by his hand. But the other one here with Drake, and I don't even know if we need to pull it up, but we can play it through we might as well. Yeah, see right there, right by that linebacker. But on the On the throw to Booty, I'm going to nitpick it.
Mm-hmm.
Should he have set his feet and actually put it on him instead of the low throw? Because, yes, it's a great throw from Booty. But as he rolls out here, he has time to reset himself up and put it on him.
For sure. He absolutely does.
It's a nitpick.
I would like to see that.
It's a nitpick.
Because, like, Scorton's all the way over here. There's not immediate pressure.
Yeah.
He for sure could have just maybe slid a little bit and then fired. So, I mean, nitpicking, it's not even just that, because if Kayshawn catches this on his feet,
he's gone.
Just this one safety miss, that's a touchdown. So, yeah, it's a nitpick because it's a completion. But if you're the quarterback's coach, you're saying, hey, man, that's a bigger opportunity that we could have had.
Right.
To not just flip the field, but actually score a touchdown. So, no, that's a totally valid criticism.
And now, again, they still get the gain out of it. They still have a positive play. So it's hard to get upset about it. But there's just, I guess my thing is there's so much more on the bone. There's so much, and we talked about there being more on the bone, but there's so much more this offense could do. There's more explosive plays involved. It's exciting. Put that on Kayshawn's body, and he's gone. Getting a long gainer there. Maybe a touchdown, but definitely explosive play there. But still good stuff. Still a good ability for him to extend the play. Get out of the pocket and keep going. And the other, speaking of getting out of the pocket, continuing to make plays and keep going, it's the mobility. Drake Maye had a rushing touchdown in this game, and he also, they ran a play action, and he ends up getting out of the pocket, and he finds Hunter Henry for a long touchdown. So we'll go through those plays right now. What did you see from like I said, Drake Maye's touchdown, rushing touchdown, where he pulls out the super cam at the end, and then also that explosive touchdown pass to Hunter Henry?
Yeah, so this play is going to be Drake Maye's scramble touchdown, and it's a very good example of what compromising positions he puts defenses in, especially in the red zone where space is tighter. And if you go one step in the right direction, you might end up giving up a score. So going to run it first. We have Jack Westover at fullback in a 2 tight end, technically. I guess he's a fullback personnel grouping. 2nd and 5, Drake Maye taking advantage of the edge with no one to really defend him, running in for a touchdown. So what we're going to get on this play is something we saw a lot in this game plan, and that is power/counter action, or basically gap with a pulling guard, which was almost always Ben Brown. Now here, Jack Westover is going to go from left to right, and that's going to help simulate this power play where he's going to go in motion and then block the edge, Nick Scorton, while Ben Brown pulls like he's about to go to the second level and block a linebacker. Now, what that's going to do is completely draw the attention of these box defenders and this edge defender who's going to be unblocked, because with that type of action, it's not just outside zone, where when you see outside zone, you're thinking, oh, it could be a bootleg coming back this way. You don't typically see bootlegs off of gap run actions or downhill schemes. So it's very tough on the box defenders to realize that this is going back the other way. And then the route options, no one's actually going to get the throw, but just so we understand how exactly this plays out, Kayshon Boutte is going to be running an outbreaker to occupy J.C. Horn. Mac Hollins is going to run a crossing route. It's going to occupy the safety. And then you're going to have the running back Antonio Gibson helping to sell that fake with Austin Hooper on a leak concept, which is basically pretend to block for a beat or two, and then you're going to slide out into the flat to try to catch the defense off guard. Now, the Panthers, usually you see man coverage in these situations or some kind of combo. I also personally am not a fan of having a center field safety in the red zone. I just think there's so little space. There's not a whole lot that having one guy back there does. A lot of the time he just ends up standing there. But in this specific instance, we're going to get, again, a single high zone coverage where if this were man, it'd be even tougher to defend Drake Maye. But this safety is actually going to end up cutting down to take Mac Hollins' crossing route, which is going to help create some of this space we see for Drake. And that crosser that we see from Austin Hooper, that leak, is going to occupy the front side linebacker. So first I'm going to play it from the all-22 view. Then we're going to look at it from the end zone angle. So Drake Maye, like I said, you get Jack Westover and Ben Brown coming to this edge. That makes it very hard to not think it's a run, as you see from both these linebackers with their eyes in the backfield. And you see the edge defender with his eyes on the running back paying Drake Maye no mind. Look how long it takes him to realize that Drake has the ball. It's not till now that he's like, oh, man, I made a mistake. Like I said, you have J.C. Horn occupied by Kayshon Boutte. Austin Hooper's occupied by the linebacker. Is that a safety? He's wearing a 30. It might be a safety. I don't know, in this freaking NFL. And everybody wearing whatever they want. And then you have the deep safety coming down to take Mac Hollins' crosser. So then who's there to take Drake Maye? Absolutely freaking nobody. Great play from Austin Hooper, showing the awareness to say, hey, wait a minute. Drake is probably about to tuck this. Let me turn around, block my guy. prevent any chance of him preventing the touchdown. Drake Maye crosses the plane. A little bit of super cam action there. Matt Collins and Austin Hooper there to celebrate with him. Then one more time from the end zone angle. Again, the power action here. Jack Westover and Ben Brown coming to the edge. The linebackers both condense. Only reason 32 even follows Austin Hooper is once he kind of notices the tight end trying to cross around rather than block. Again, this edge defender, no shot of getting to Drake Maye. Drake sees I don't have Hooper. I probably don't have Booty. And I don't have Matt Collins. But what I do have is plenty of grass to work with. Just tuck and run, young man. Ball over the end zone. Just one more time. A little bit of super cam action. There we go.
Two things I like on this play, Taylor. I know we'll look at the super cam. I love on the goal line running a bootleg to the short side of the field because it gives the quarterback less room to work with and an ability to take it himself. The other thing I find interesting is that they're booting to his weak side. And I love throwing with a little bit of torque, right? So he's not running, if he were to throw this ball, he'd kind of have to give himself a little torque, which I like. It gives you a little bit more power behind the ball. But again, you wouldn't expect them to boot to the short side rather because it doesn't give them a ton of room to develop the play. But since they're that close to the goal line, he can either dump one off quick or get in the end zone like you see for the touchdown. And then, of course, we have the super cam Selly to close it up.
And that's a great point because usually when Drake scrambles, it's to his right. A lot of the boots are to the right. I actually will look up the numbers and see what the split is because Josh McDaniels is very aware of tendencies. So this is a good one where you can't just think, okay, Drake, if he's going to run, it's going to go right. Like I said, not only is this not outside zone action, which is what we mostly saw last week when they kind of saw an uptick in the moving pockets. Here, it's a gap concept with a puller and going to his weak side. So that was a really good observation there as well, Mike. All right, now moving on.
And there's the super cam. And I love the picture of the super.
You got it.
No, you're good. Keep going.
All right. So this time we're going to get Hunter Henry's touchdown, his first explosive touchdown, otherwise of 20 or more yards since 2023, week 13 in Pittsburgh. Another great example of Drake Maye's mobility, putting the defense in some compromising spots. So first we get Demario Douglas going in motion. This is actually a play. I didn't realize it till late. This play is something the Dolphins used to run all the time against the Patriots, and it would piss me off because it's very hard to defend when you're a man coverage team because that motion can create some problems. Sometimes when you get the slide router and it's an athletic quarterback, it can create a lot of confusion for the defense. So seeing it again, I was like, oh, hello, my old friend. But now, obviously, Patriots use it for the good guys, Josh McDaniels. So what we're going to get is Demario Douglas going in motion, but he's actually going to end up running a wheel similar to what the Dolphins run, right? The first year, I think, of Mike McDaniel, we'd see it from one side of the field to the other like we see here. But then the part that everyone kind of loved, that little cheat motion, was when he would do it in short motion and then accelerate. But Pop, again, going from one side to the other, running that wheel, going to get a hitch from Stephon Diggs, and then a crossing route backside from Kyle Williams, and then a slide route from Hunter Henry. Now, I'm not sure if he was the initial target for this. I think it might have been Stephon Diggs, to be honest, just a quick dump off for him. That's not how it plays out. We'll talk about why. And also, Ramondre Stevenson going to pretend like he's going downfield in split zone, but he's actually going to pop back out and help block for Drake Maye on the bootleg action here. And the Panthers, for their part, are going to be running a type of blitz where it's going to be 3 deep. And the way it ends up playing out, I'm not sure if it's exactly match, but it almost plays out like man, where this slot defender is going to go outside and follow Demario Douglas rather than just sitting on the hitch, which is what you'd see in more traditional spot drop zone. Then you're going to have this linebacker popping out, and then JC Horn. I think he's in the flat, but when you see bootleg action, a lot of teams will just try to flood and keep moving their guys that way so they don't just have guys standing and occupying space. So looking at it post-snap, slow motion, you get split zone action where Ramondre's coming downhill. You see Hunter Henry going from one side to the other in a split zone action when he's actually running a slide. Now, you see here, Stephon Diggs looks like he's expecting a throw really quickly, right? But this corner ends up jumping. So Drake's going to keep holding onto the ball, and Hunter Henry actually gets affected by the edge defender who notices him and gets a little chip to slow the tight end down. That's where Drake looks like he's just like, all right, I'm going to tuck this and run. But the linebacker who might be responsible for Hunter ends up keeping his eyes on Drake. Hunter slips behind him, flick of the wrist, Drake Maye completes it. And then Hunter Henry's off to the races off a great blocking effort from Pop. Block one guy, come off that, block another. They try to strip Hunter Henry, and it does not work. Going to run this one more time from the end zone angle so we can appreciate it a little bit more. Split zone action. Just kidding. I'm going the other way. Get that little chip on Hunter Henry. Drake looks like he's going to run the ball. Both hands on it. Maybe he's going to run. Maybe he's not. But that linebacker, number 56, Christian Roseboom, is going to go for the quarterback, not pay attention to the tight end. Henry's like, all right, decision. I'm just going to slip right behind you, throwing it between two defenders. And this one guy almost gets it down. The edge almost
nasty. Yep.
Barely gets it in Hunter Henry's lap. Again, great effort from Demario Douglas downfield. Follow your blocking. Pop goes from one assignment to another, throws another physical block. They try to punch this out. Hunter Henry, captain stuff right there, veteran stuff. Both hands on the football.
Yep.
And then runs right into the end zone, celebrates with Kyle Williams and Pop Douglas.
It's great stuff. It's the end zone angle, like you said, gives us a better idea of just how much of a last-second decision it was for Drake, and his ability to not only read it, watch these guys come to him, and then right there, he's like, nope, he's going that way, flick it over, boom, touch. Like, that is A-plus execution and the ability, again, to read what the defense is doing in front of it and make that last-second decision. It's money. And then Hunter Henry celebrates in the end zone, gets himself a nice Hunter Henry spike. He's rolling this season, just like Drake Maye is. Hunter's been awesome. For you fantasy footballers out there, I will say Hunter Henry is the number one tight end in scoring throughout the season this year. So A-plus stuff. Yeah, if you've drafted Hunter Henry in your fantasy, but they're really getting that mojo going. And you saw right there. They rolled Drake to the left side there too, which I thought was fascinating. But go ahead.
No, and that was like Hunter Henry only had 2 catches in the game. We broke them both down. It was the one in the red zone, and it was that one. So truly, when they say like it could be a different guy every week, they're showing it because Hunter Henry is someone who I had in my prize picks lineup and all that, thinking he was going to have another monster performance. Did get the touchdown, but it was relatively quiet day from him. Even looking at the box score, I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's true. He wasn't as active as I thought he was. So but the reason he was so quiet is because of another guy getting a lot of the attention from Drake Maye, who we are going to break down next.
Let's do it. It's Stefon Diggs, 100-yard game for the first time as a Patriot. Super exciting, obviously, because he was, one of their prized possessions throughout the, the free agency frenzy that this team went on. And we were wondering, when would he be back? When would the ACL repair? When would he be back to Stefon Diggs? He ends up on the right track. He's involved in training camp, fully cleared. Has a slow-ish couple of weeks, even though we saw, and we kind of broke down on here, he was their leading target getter. He was getting a majority of the target share for this offense, but we saw the fruits of their labor come to life this week. He had a 100-yard game. A couple nasty really plays between these two guys, a couple crossing routes, the 4th and 3 that, the game was already iced, but that was just kind of that we're here. The two of us, we have this rapport down. So 4 plays from Drake and Diggs, one of which is not necessarily Diggs, but we'll get to it in a second. Taylor, I'll give you the floor. What did you see from Stefon Diggs and Drake Maye in this game?
More Stefon Diggs being super reliable, but this time him and Drake Maye really showing a connection, not just over the middle where I feel like they've done a ton of their damage already, also showing a little bit on the outside. First, I'm going to break it down, but I'm not going to break it down with Stefon Diggs initially. I'm going to start with the play that they actually went back to for one of Diggs' biggest completions of the day. So first, we're actually going to go to the opening 3rd down where Drake Maye admitted that he threw behind Kayshon Boutte. And it's going to be for a very specific reason. So first we show it. You see this motion from Kayshon Boutte, which I actually love because this is a very small detail. When he motions, he starts as the number 1 to the top, comes here, but the ball is snapped before he goes back to the same formation or same position. So technically, when the ball is snapped, he's like the number 3 or 2.5 receiver, not the number 1, even though he releases and becomes the number 1. So a little cool wrinkle from Josh McDaniels. But we're going to get Stefon Diggs over the middle on a crosser, Kayshon Boutte on a dig, and then Hunter Henry checking down or chucking a little bit as a helpful little addition to the pass protection before settling down as a check down option. But as you can see, this first time, the safety is going to fire down to Stefon Diggs, leaving the dig to Kayshon Boutte wide open. Unfortunately, Drake throws behind him, nearly gets intercepted. But that's okay, because what do I always say about Drake Maye when we critique what he does wrong? The reason we do it is so we can go back and either talk about like, hey, this is a real problem, or we can give him his flowers for when he does a better job. That's exactly what he did later on in the game. This was on a 3rd and 15 after he had already converted a 3rd and 5, but it was brought back by Travion Henderson holding penalty. Same motion from Kayshon Boutte, same exact play, but we're going to get a different type of coverage from the Panthers, and Drake Maye does a great job capitalizing and also showing some awareness to, I think, help Stephon Diggs get open with his eyes. So, going to break this down in slow motion. Motion from Kayshon Boutte. So, once again, we get the dig when he's going to release out to be the number 1 again. We're going to get the crossing route from Stephon Diggs. Then Hunter Henry is going to help out on the edge before settling down right at about the 45-yard line. The Panthers, now before, the safety played this very aggressively and went down, and that was because they were more of a match zone coverage. Here, we're going to get spot drop cover 3. So very normal cover 3 action here, where it's going to actually allow this safety opposite the deep safety to buzz down. And because last time they got beat on the dig, this safety is going to come down and take the dig away. But Drake Maye does a great job with his eyes to not tip off this post safety and help get Stephon Diggs open on this play, unlike last time where, once again, the safety was able to crash down on top of it. So slow motion, Drake takes the snap, and you see how he starts out left? I don't think there's any chance he was ever going to throw here because, yes, you get off coverage, but look where Mack Hollins actually breaks. This isn't even close to the first down marker. Could he have still thrown this and then they go for it on 4th down like they typically do? Of course. But at the same time, I think it would be very odd if this was his initial look, considering he had 3 options over the middle and another single high look. That's exactly where you want to attack. So I think he was looking left, knowing that he didn't want to tip off where he was ultimately going to go with the ball. And part of why I think that is because he goes from left. Then when he goes right, confidently moves back and fires. Yeah. This is hitch, get ready to throw, puts it right on Stephon Diggs. So that's a confident throw. Not even the cleanest pocket. He had a lot of nice pockets in this game, like he even did on the first 3rd down. Here, Ben Brown gives a little bit of pressure against 99, who kind of is able to get under him. But still, with the rusher's hand in his face, Drake Maye throws this over coverage, hits Stephon Diggs, and then Diggs is able to get a little bit more to convert on, again, a 3rd and 15. Just Drake's ability to consistently show poise and deliver throws over the middle to his receivers has been very impressive. And again, I love what I believe to be his awareness to know I can't just stare down the middle because it might take away my reads. Nope, he's going to look left to like what probably wasn't a legitimate read for him and then be able to help create this void for Stephon Diggs. Wide open throw, but I think Drake Maye's eyes were part of what created that.
And you mentioned it a little bit at the beginning, but his knack to convert, like the 4 for 5 on 4th downs in the game against Pittsburgh. He got the first down on 3rd and 1 this one. They get backed up. He's still able to sit back there, clean enough pocket, but still muddy, deliver a strike, move the coverage, and get one into Diggs. It's an outstanding play, and it kept them moving along in this game offensively for sure.
Yes, sir. So now we're going to run it one more time. Wide open. Yeah, okay. So, he gets wide open against zone. Sure. Drake did a good job, but what about Diggs? Well, Diggs also did this against man coverage, as we're going to see right here. He actually beat Mike Jackson for 2 of his big plays in one-on-one coverage. Mike Jackson, the former Patriot, really nice route running there from Stephon Diggs, and good throw from Drake Maye to hit his guy in stride and give him an opportunity to get yak, which is something else, once again, I've criticized Drake for, especially on those crossing routes. We saw it at times during the summer. It felt like he would just put it on the guy's back hip, which forced him to adjust and took away yak opportunities. That did not happen here. So we saw the play. Now we're going to get man coverage. So Stephon Diggs one-on-one, because this safety is going to be deep. There's a safety high over at top here, but he's actually going to be covering Hunter Henry, so he's not really a part of this breakdown. And then the Patriots, Stephon Diggs, just going to be running a crossing route, but look at the nuance from Diggs to create the separation. So initial stem inside, like he's going to go straight across the formation. Then we see what's called a stair step. So when you're running a crossing route, we saw this all the time from Jacoby Myers. You want to take it, it's called a stair, because you go vertical, and that is to keep the defender from being able to just stay on your pocket and run right with you on the crossing route and just fire. Because you see the hesitation this creates. Mike Jackson, at first, is on a pretty good path to be able to undercut this, but because of the stair step, it creates that hesitation at the top. So stair, Mike Jackson kind of backs off. Stephon Diggs knows there might be contact, swipes it away, pulls away from coverage, Drake Maye throws it to his man in stride. Also credit to Kyle Williams at the top, whose post route helps create this void in coverage. And then the corner doesn't realize until too late that Stephon Diggs is underneath his coverage. Diggs is able to get some extra yards after the catch. Really good route from the veteran and a good throw from Drake Maye, once again hitting his man in stride.
Shows his comfortability in his craft, but also just in his health too, to be able to, run a route like that and actually see it happen and get, he gets it done. He's able to create that separation there. Again, you mentioned that stair step move, but the fact that he's actually doing it, seeing it on the field is only going to grow his confidence more as he continues to get healthy from that knee. So great stuff. And again, you mentioned the clear out, but look at all the space Drake has to work with the throw, because
beautiful
those routes from, I think it's Pop or it's either, no, I think that's Booty crossed in the middle, but whoever it is.
Oh, no, that's Mario Douglas running
void.
wide ass open over the middle.
It is Pop?
Yeah, that's Pop. Wide open.
Oh, yeah, there's a 3. Okay, now.
And also, like you said,
so I mean,
beautiful pocket there.
Yeah.
Ben Brown even coming in again with Will Campbell to help him out. You got the chip from from Hunter Henry on Nick Scorton. So Morgan Moses barely has to do anything. Firm blocks from Garrett Bradbury and Mike Nwenu to create that pocket. And you had Pop. You might have had a touchdown, to be honest. And I'm not mad at Drake for throwing this. I can't stand when people get upset with a quarterback for hitting one downfield receiver just because another was open. If you want to nitpick, sure, that's fair, but this is a beautiful throw. And you also appreciate the matchup there. Mike Jackson against Stephon Diggs. You'll take that one in man-to-man, especially when he had off coverage. All right, now the last one I'm going to hit 100%.
On. All right, the icing on the cake. We talked about it. 4th and 3. Let's see it.
All right, so this was on, like you mentioned, the 4th and 3. So I'm going to run it first. Mario Douglas goes from one side of the field to the other. The Panthers don't really react, so you might think this is zone coverage, but it's not. Actually ends up being more of a man concept, but Drake Maye sees the one-on-one on the outside. He doesn't care. Fires to Stephon Diggs way downfield when all he needs is 3 yards. I love this. Not only the fact that it happened, and these back shoulder fades we know are very dependent on chemistry between the quarterback and the wide receiver. On this play, not only did we get that, but we also got Drake saying, I have no fear in my body on this play. It may be 4th and 3, but I'm going for the jugular as he does here. So once again, we get that shift. And route-wise, we are going to get man coverage. So one-on-one on the outside, Stephon Diggs. Got one high safety. So Drake Maye knows, hey, just quickly look down the pipe, fire this to my guy. And then you're going to have Stephon Diggs just running the go ball. So Drake Maye looks down the pipe initially, then looks to the sideline and fires. Diggs actually has a step on the corner. So honestly, if Drake wanted to, he probably could have put some air under this. But knowing that Stephon Diggs isn't really a burner, doesn't have quite the same burst he used to have, I don't really mind Drake throwing this back shoulder, especially when the connection looks like this. Stephon Diggs threatening vertically, sees it, doesn't push off, just puts a hand on the defender's back, makes the adjustment along the sideline. Catch, tries to get a little bit more out of it, attempts the juke, but Mike Jackson pulls him out to set up another score. So that was one of the best throws I've seen from Drake Maye this season. Maybe not necessarily the toughest because you are splitting one-on-one coverage, but I love the chemistry. I love the aggressiveness. And ultimately, I love that he puts this right on the money for Stephon Diggs once again to make that impressive adjustment.
So many things that were awesome about this play, and I love that we're playing it last because I called it the icing on the cake, but it was also just the dagger in the Panthers' heart. And you could easily have justified kicking a field goal, maybe even, I know it's a short field, but even punting and just being like, we're not going to run this thing up. We're not going to get aggressive. We're not going to do anything. But instead, Drake Maye throws a fade route to the far side of the field, or not a fade route, but a kind of go route with an adjustment there, like you said, and puts it on Stephon Diggs' back shoulder like, no, this is our game. We're going down. We're going to score one more time here. And they did exactly that. That excited me the most because, again, it's like you don't need to keep piling it on here, but they did. They decided to. They convert it, and then they go down, and then they score one more touchdown to really put it to the Carolina Panthers. So great stuff from Drake Maye, as you know, as we saw through this breakdown. I will say for anybody watching now or watching after, I apologize for continuing to break in and out of Taylor. I don't know what's going on with my computer, so trying my best to get that figured out. It's coming in and out. So Taylor would stop talking. I'm trying to figure out what he was saying, but we got it done. We broke it down there. Again, Drake Maye excelling in the quick game, using his mobility to get things done, and also showing, as Taylor broke down, a 4-play connection to Stephon Diggs, who has his first 100-yard game as a Patriot. So Great stuff there, Taylor, overall. Fun little breakdown here. For members who are here, thank you guys for joining us. If you are here next time we do these and have any questions when you come on, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We will get to those as well. And we'll do a mailbag tomorrow on Wednesday as we continue to trudge through the season and get to Bills week. Big game this Sunday, as you can tell. And as I've said multiple times, not only on this show, but last night's show as well. So mailbag tomorrow. Keep it here. Rate, review, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Taylor, for all of your help on this one. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you next time. Peace out, everyone.